Hey everyone, today I'm looking at another Game Boy Advance, bought off eBay, listed as is for parts or repair. I've played around with this a little bit. Now it seems to work. I was having some intermittent power issues, but right now it's not being temperamental in the least. But as dirty as this shell is, I can kind of see inside and tell that it's one of the better boards that I've got as far as corrosion goes. So I think I'm going to build this one out, use it for a project. And the first thing I want to show off, even though it might not necessarily need it, this is a replacement power switch by Helder. So we'll be putting that in there. I know in my last videos was cleaning a power switch. We're just going to outright replace this power switch and get the board prepped for an aftermarket screen. So I'm also going to put this in there. This is just a little resistor that helps drain a capacitor. I might go more into that later. But when you get some of the aftermarket screens and you do a quick power cycle, sometimes they don't want to boot back up, and the solution is to drain that capacitor quicker with a little resistance. So we'll be putting these two things on there today and inspecting this board further. It's missing a screw. Oh yeah. Don't forget there is a Phillips style screw in the battery bay. Yeah, that's a pretty clean board. We'll get this thing prepped. Might make a little a series of sorts. Today I'm going to do the power switch and the power on fix is what the mod's called. I'll link it in the description. All right. 2 more Phillips screws. Getting ahead of myself there. Yeah, the board's pretty nice. The Game Boy itself is pretty filthy, but we'll worry about that later. Forget I mentioned this. We'll cover that in another video. I want to recap this too, and I'm not going to do that right now. But I will do the power switch. What I'll do first is just flux everything. I'm going to use this low melt solder. Help get everything off the board there. By the way, when I say low melt, this is the stuff I'm talking about. It's a removal alloy. It's got a super low melting temperature, and it stays molten for a very long time. So the idea here is get this on each contact on the component, kind of bounce around let it alloy with each spot, and it'll stay molten long enough to where eventually when you make your rounds, the component will just pop right off because everything's still liquid. Easy peasy. Do one more pass with a solder braid. I think that looks pretty close. Clean that up. A little IPA. Now let's see if it still boots. I forgot one of the most critical parts. That switch. It fits over pretty good. The actual switch is way smaller than the OEM one. Make sure you switch your bits back to the Y-wing. That screw's missing because the screw post's broken. Let's see if it still powers on, or if we fixed it until it broke. Okay. Pretty nice. While it lasted, what's happening? Okay, so I played around with this a little more. I put, no I didn't. Loaded up with some Power Rangers. Turned it on. Works. So Helder's switch does work nice. It's fine. It's definitely a great replacement if you have real bad corrosion and just can't use the OEM switch anymore. I'm gonna hang on to this because it's fine. It's just dirty possibly. But the issue with this is if I turn it off, turn it right back on, it does nothing. But if I leave it off and give it 10 seconds, it'll come back on. Interesting, huh? So that's actually kind of exactly what that is for. It's called the power on fix. Typically don't need something like that unless you're running an aftermarket screen, as far as I know. I'm not exactly sure why. But what I suspect is happening is probably the capacitors are not great in here. They are 22, 23 years old at this point. So I'll be replacing the capacitors as well, getting this board ready for a aftermarket screen kit and possibly rechargeable battery. We'll see where we go with it, but for now that's it for this one. I'm gonna get out of here, dudes.